Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. In this lecture we will discuss how to write chapter number 4 and 5 of research thesis at MPhil level or PhD level. The difference between MPhil and PhD dissertation is only that at MPhil level the study is conducted at some smaller scale, and at PhD level the study is conducted at some larger scale. To data analysis, let's say that data what we have collected, I will give you an example here. That let's say you have collected your research tool has been a questionnaire, and you have collected a quantitative and qualitative data by questionnaire by distributing it to your respondents. So we all know that the research tools are different. Some research tools can be the research tool can be a questionnaire, it can be a structured interview, it can be diary study, it can be observation, it can be a series of newspapers, it can be some books, whatever you have mentioned in your study, in your research questions, in your problem statement, in your topic of research thesis. So data is collected according to it. Mostly the students, they prefer to collect data through a closed-ended questionnaire. Sometimes it's a mixed method by adding 2 or 3 qualitative questions at the end of the questionnaire, but mostly the students, they prefer to collect data through closed-ended questions. Closed-ended means like on a Likert scale: agree, disagree, strongly disagree, where the student is given only option of yes or no. Or it can be a test of MCQs. When an MCQs test is given to you, you are not allowed to write any fifth or sixth option by your own. You are supposed to select one of the options which have been provided to you by your teacher, by your paper setter, or as a researcher, the same which you provide to your respondent. So the respondent cannot write his own opinion in words in descriptive form. He has to select one option. So analysis of data, once it is collected from the students, from the respondents, they can be students, they can be teachers. So once it is collected, so there are 2 ways to analyze data. There are many computer softwares, like if you are doing your research on phonetics, there are many softwares which are used to study the pronunciation, to analyze the pronunciation spoken by the respondents. And there is famous SPSS software which is used to analyze statistical data, which is mostly used in linguistics, in education, and in all other relevant arts and humanities subjects. And data is analyzed manually also. This qualitative data, where the students, the respondents, they are given open-ended choices that they can write whatever they want. You ask them a question and they write a paragraph answer. Their answer is in the shape of paragraph. Then such type of data is analyzed manually. So it can be done through computer softwares and it can be done manually. Both have its own advantages, disadvantages. Sometimes time taking, sometimes not time taking. So both have different dimensions. Analyzing data manually is not very difficult. Most of the time the students, the researchers, they believe that probably manually analyzing data is difficult. No, it is not. As far as computer software analysis are concerned, that also takes a lot of time while entering data. Then you have to be very meticulous, very careful while entering your data into softwares. And manually you have to you have to study each and every questionnaire by your own, then to write it with a pen on your paper, and then to analyze it. So he says that in data analysis, the results should be interesting and understandable. First of all, the results must not be a collection of percentages, figures, or some digits, or some complicated graphical representations. So it should be very easy. Easy means it should be understandable for the reader, for your supervisor, for your external examiner, or any other person who wants to take some help from your thesis. It should be understandable that what you are trying to say, it has been rightly reflected in your data analysis. Then uh, the results must be presented completely. Why this is the most important point in chapter number 4. Why it should be presented completely? Because most of the times the researcher, they start thinking that what they had in their mind before collecting data, the respondents, they have not provided the similar answers. So they start thinking that probably if they write this type of data which is not according to their thought, it will have adverse effect on their research analysis, which is completely a wrong concept. Because whatever the response of the respondent is, it must be reflected there. It may be possible, for instance, if you have given 20 closed-ended questions to your respondents, out of 20, it may be possible that 10 have been answered against your settled opinion, and 10 have been answered relevant to your research opinion, the opinion which you have already developed in your mind. So both the types of data, like you get data according to your opinion or is it against your opinion, it must be written there. When you write there, you must be very much confident, that do not ever think that it will be wrong. Research is never wrong or right. Research has to be followed by some particular procedure that every researcher has to follow. The result, in data analysis, whatever is against our hypothesis, our predictions, whatever we have observed, it may be possible that the other respondents, that the living human beings, they have different opinions, because we all know that opinion varies from person to person and area to area. Every person has different opinion. So it must not, the researchers must not feel any hesitation while writing any data which they have collected, or whatever the result it is. It will never go against the research. Then the prediction and the main questions, the research question, the data should be presented in a way, the data should be analyzed and in a way that it must address the main questions of your thesis. Like you can say that it should directly hit the topic of your thesis. All the research questions, they are derived from your research topic. Then the most interesting one that I had already explained, that when the expected results are not found, the expected results mean that you are a researcher and you know that this type of, you have observed your class, you observe your class fellows, you observe your teachers, you observe the society. So being a researcher, you have experienced society, you have lot of experience about the happenings, the trends which are in the society, how the people they believe, what the people mostly they think, what are their attitudes. Now uh, it is very important to understand that if you receive data or response from the respondents which is not up to your expectations or up to your settled or developed opinion, it is again a new kind of research. It is not wrong. If your respondents are giving opinion against your own prediction, your own settled opinion, it means that a new phenomena has emerged. The respondents have given you, provided you a new phenomena, and that new phenomena will be a will definitely be a new kind of research. It is never wrong. Either it is in favor of your opinion, the respondents they are giving response, or they are against it. Both have its own representation of data. The data will be analyzed according to the opinion of the respondents without any fear that maybe if someone has given opinion against me, then I would start thinking that probably it is against my research hypothesis, against my research questions, or probably I will not be able to conclude it. No, if you have settled an opinion and at the end you defy your opinion, that what my opinion was this one, but my respondents have given me this answer, so it means that you have justified your thesis, your research, your topic, and your data analysis. It doesn't mean it is wrong. Then most important one, most of the times we have seen that the students they are busy in making long and complicated tables, graphical representations which are completely not understandable by the common learners, or by the teachers, or by the fellows, or by the student himself, that once he is asked to explain what kind of data he has analyzed and what the tables and the graphs they represent, if the researcher is unable to explain it by himself or herself, then that data will be called a kind of a fake data, a kind of ununderstandable data, something which is written before you, you don't understand it, it means that you are completely ignorant about it. So our purpose is not to increase the number of tables, number of graphs, number of pages. Our purpose is to analyze our data which is understandable, which is easy. The reader feel uh, quite comfortable while reading your analysis. It doesn't mean that you should follow, you have read for instance, if you have read a thesis on internet from some foreign country, a university, by some student, and you start copying it and you start manipulating your data into that which has been written by that particular researcher. So be very careful about it, that be very clear in your mind that our purpose is not to reflect some complicated table, some complicated graphs, or something overloaded, like we are writing there should be 100 graphs, there should be 100 tables, and the tables are more complicated to understand. In data analysis chapter, our purpose is not to make our tables and graphs and our description complicated. Our purpose is to make it easy and make it relevant to our topic. Relevant here doesn't mean that you start manipulating the data or to change the opinion of the respondents. We cannot change the opinion of the respondents. Then in most of the thesis, data analysis chapter, the data analyzed data is represented through tables and graphs, and some explanations are given that for instance, if you have 20-30 items in your questionnaire, you write the item of the questionnaire at the top, then you write your table in frequency, median, mode, whatever you want to write there, then you write 3 4 5 lines by your own, just to describe what is written in the table or what is the overall trend by the respondents. And then you may add a graph or you may not add a graph, that is optional. And tables are also optional. You can create table for every item, you can create table for 5 items each, you can create 5 to 10 tables completely all together in one data analysis chapter. So it is up to the researcher with the consent of the supervisor. Then as compared to less important, definitely this is it's based on common sense. Actually research is completely based on common sense. This data analysis, conclusion, all is based on common sense. Like the writer is saying here that it should be the questions which are more relevant, they should be given more importance in data analysis, instead of focusing on the less important questions. Less important, you can analyze it or you can understand it in two ways. For instance, if you have a considered opinion, you collect data, your respondents, out of 100, 40 have given opinion in your favor, and that is relevant. 40 has given their opinion against it, and 20 they have not given any opinion. So you have to focus on the 40 items, 40 respondents, those who have given their opinion in favor of your predictions, in favor of your hypothesis. If you start focusing on opposite direction, like those who have given provided you response opposite to your settled opinion, then you will be wasting your time. It does not mean that you will not mention, as I have already told. I am not contradicting my own point of view, because in this lecture previously I have told you that every opinion given by the respondent, it must be written in data analysis. I'm again repeating the same thing, that it must be written, but while explaining it, your focus must be on the most important questions. In a questionnaire, every item is never important. Sometimes few general items they are added just to motivate the learners, so that they take interest to provide you complete response of the questionnaire. Most of the times the learners, they do not take any interest to provide you appropriate response. So we add out of 30 you may add 5 items which are relevant to your topic, which are like they are their aspect is quite general, not specific. So your focus must be on the most important responses which you have received, which are relevant to your research questions and relevant to your research topic. Then let's move to chapter number 5, how to write a conclusion. In conclusion chapter, first of all, we conclude whatever we have analyzed into our data. In data analysis, our focus is on numbers, figures, whatever we have received. In conclusion, we use our own mind to write it in a descriptive manner, that what the study I have conducted, the response I have received from the respondents, how do I conclude it? And this conclusion doesn't mean to write 1 or 2 paragraphs. You have to explain each and everything. In simple words, I can tell you that your conclusion chapter, chapter number 5 of your thesis, sometimes it's chapter number 5, sometimes in different universities it's chapter number 6 also. But when you conclude your thesis, most of the times the researchers, they are confused that what we need to write in conclusion. Actually, you have to go back to your research questions. In simple words, in conclusion, you answer your research questions that you have raised in your chapter number 1. Those research questions must be answered explicitly. You must explain them, explain the answers, but you will provide your answers to those research questions with the help of the data analysis which you have done in chapter number 4, instead of taking some references from other research. So we are not going to other research in chapter number 5. Our focus is primarily on the data analysis which we have done, and what we have to write there, we have to answer the research questions which we have written there. After providing complete, comprehensive, detailed answers of our research questions, then we recommend, because if there are few problems, there must be some solutions. Recommendations means to provide some solutions, that if this problem exists, how it can be resolved, what can be the appropriate way to resolve this existing problem. And then in conclusion, the results must not be overgeneralized. Like, they should be general, but you have to be specific to your research questions. You can write some general things, but not over generalization or exaggeration of your data analysis. So after recommendations, you will further recommend for further research, that you have conducted research on this particular topic, and the new researchers, the upcoming researchers, they may follow it and investigate some other aspects of this research. So in this way, we write chapter number 4 and 5 of our research thesis.